The type of dream, because if you remember your dream, what type of dream do you make, and is it different from the dreams you could make on Earth? Alors la question qui nous vient de Rachel de François, qui est peut-être avec nous autres parce que la question était posée ce matin. Quel genre de rêve fut le plus commun pendant votre séjour dans l'espace? Okay, so English answer from Tom, and then Chris will translate it in French.
Actually, on the space station, we were really busy. If there are any doctors out there, it's much like being in residency. You don't get much sleep, so I slept pretty hard and didn't dream a lot. But on the shuttle, before I did some spacewalks, I had a very distinct dream. It was a little bit horrifying at the time, but before I did the spacewalk, dreaming of floating outside the space station, but not in a spacesuit, just doing a slow tumble. So it really got me all set up, ready to go, to be very careful outside the space station when we did do it, spacewalk.
Je vais essayer de traduire. Ce qu'il a dit, c'était que la première fois qu'il a volé dans l'espace, c'était dans la navette. Dans la station, nous étions tellement occupés, et donc pas beaucoup de temps peut-être rêver, mais dans la navette, la première fois, il a fait des sorties extravéhiculaires, il a marché libre dans l'espace. Il a eu un rêve d'être là, mais sans le scaphandre, tout nu dans l'espace. Et après ça, il a pris attention absolument chaque pas après l'autre pour savoir qu'il n'y aura aucun problème avec le scaphandre après un rêve comme ça.
This is good. Now we all know about Star Trek, Star Wars, and we see those very comfortable station, you know, and you look like you were like in a submarine, I guess, in a way, huh? So here's a question: do you envisage, is that how we say in English, yeah? A future when astronauts will spend most of their adult lives searching for and developing new habitats for the human race? Is the exploration of outer space viable and physically achievable in search of a new home where science fact will?
That's a big question.
Sure is.
Right now, we are like the very first people getting in a canoe and trying to get out of sight of the shore of the lake, or the first person getting in a boat and try to sail out of sight of the land. We're just that way in space. It's really, really early. And so to talk about going to other planets, it's so far and so hard and so risky. Eventually, of course, we will. But if you'd ask the first person that got into a boat and went out into Lake Ontario and paddled out so far that they couldn't see the shore anymore, I mean, that was a big, big moment. Now it seems like nothing, but we're just in that early perspective building stage. Eventually, we will, but we need to invent something better than a sailboat and a canoe. In space parlance, we need to invent better engines and better power supplies. And when we invent those are things that we use on Earth also. You know, we need to carry all that stuff together. And then, of course, it'll be more like Star Trek and Star Wars, where we actually figure out how to control gravity so that space flight, just like travel across the Atlantic now, is part of normal daily life. Right now, what Tom and I did still is extremely risky, extremely complicated, and it's still very, very early. Eventually, but we need some people here, some of you guys sitting in the front row, to invent some things so that we can go faster and higher and safer.
Now, what about kids here? If you raise your hand, tell me who wants to become an astronaut. Est-ce qu'il y en a ici qui aimeraient devenir des astronautes? So we have two there with mustache. Can you stand up, the two of you? Look at this. Turn around, Chris Hadfield wannabes. Well, you know what? That's a good link to some of the funny questions. And actually, there's one from Michelle Long, and she says, and that's not for you, Tom. So you know we're talking about the mustache. Please list 3 benefits and 3 drawbacks of sporting a mustache. But let's add in space.
3 drawbacks and 3 benefits of having a mustache. Let's see. Well, having a mustache makes me better looking. That's what my wife tells me, so that's why I really have a mustache. Having a mustache is good because when you have soup, you still have something to eat later. Having a mustache is good because in the wintertime it warms up part of your face.
That's good.
Drawbacks of having a mustache. Your kids will mock you for your entire life if you have a mustache. Small girls wearing costumes will cover their upper lips at an international gathering and embarrass themselves just because I have a mustache.
Well, what about I did some scuba diving and just having a beard sometimes it's difficult because air will go through. Is that a problem?
Maybe one of the advantages is a disadvantage, and that is sometimes when you have soup, you still have... Oh no, I know the real disadvantage. When you guys have been out on a cold winter day and your nose starts running, it's a bad time to have a mustache. That's 3 and 3.
All right, so we got a question this morning from Rhonda Lee Newell. What happens when you sneeze?
Actually, not what you would think. You can sneeze, you can't burp in space actually, but you can sneeze in space. I tried it once. I floated in the middle of the module, getting ready to sneeze. And I was expecting myself to spin around like a lawn sprinkler if I sneezed, but it didn't happen. It was a little bit disappointing. So sneeze is just kind of like a regular sneeze. That's
Sorry,
just
it's
the way
true.
it is.
We all tried it. In fact, we tried all of the gas expelling things up there. And none of them were all that propulsive in case you're wondering.
It's a highly scientific process, right?
You gonna write something about this? Now, is there a book in the making, or always books in the making? So that means in your head, it's always like doesn't stop. Okay. Karen Arononica asked this question: did you see any UFOs or something weird you couldn't explain, and are you bound by CSIS, FBI, CIA, KGB to keep your mouth shut?
You got that one.
I'm Canadian. I'm not bound by anybody. I can say whatever I want. The main reason we are in space is looking for other life. That's why we have rovers driving around on Mars. And they have found that Mars had water flowing on it for 1 million years or longer. So maybe there's life on Mars. We haven't found it yet, but we're looking. We have a telescope that stares at other stars, and we have found planets, thousands of planets around other stars, because we're looking for life. But we have not found life yet. We're looking. You know, that's what we're doing there. If we find it, we're not going to keep it a secret. That's what we're doing out there. So that, you know, to think that you know, that something traveled all the way across the universe and came here and found that we have semi-intelligent life and we're leaving the planet and we've been to the moon and we have a space station. I don't think their first action would be to abduct a farmer from Arkansas or to make a circle in a crop in England. I just don't think that's what would happen. So no, we are looking. And also, if you see an unidentified flying object, I'm not sure the first logical best conclusion is, well, I don't know what that is, so therefore it must have come from another galaxy and be orbiting around and sneaking around the world. It's a lot of television and wishful thinking. We want to find other life. We want